Hi everybody, my name is Lydiah Namayengo, a Ugandan, a political analyst, and a human rights activist. I have come today to give an independent reaction towards government of Uganda's response towards COVID-19. As a concerned citizen, I am saddened by the outbreak and continuous spread of the novel coronavirus disease 2019, a global pandemic that is affecting Uganda's economy all over the world and other economies all over the world, a pandemic that has taken millions of lives all over the world prematurely and has also caused countries lockdowns and curfew that was unforeseen. Although Uganda has registered only 79 cases of COVID-19, with 52 Ugandans, 1 Indian, 1 Canadian, 1 Burundian, 2 Chinese, 9 Kenyans, and 13 Tanzanians since the declaration of Presidential and Uganda's Ministry of Health guidelines to prevent its spread, we are still under lockdown and curfew guidelines are still going on as advised by the Ministry of Health. We thank all the people and professionals like the media who have continuously spread reliable, trusted, and timely information, key updates, and prevention messages for the virus, for the health workers in various hospitals and regions that have been on the front line in the fight against COVID-19 by either testing, treating, conducting health education, other diseases, and illnesses from COVID-19, even when they lack essential medical supplies to their work professionally. However, we want to play an oversight role and respond to various key issues in the COVID-19 national response put up so far. 1. Food distribution exercise. First of all, we want to thank the government of Uganda for having quickly responded to the hunger crisis by rolling out food distribution exercise to the people of Kampala through the National COVID-19 Response Task Force under the Office of the Prime Minister, led by the Minister for General Duties in the OPM's office, Honorable Mary Karolo Krot. However, calling for food distribution to its citizens in just 1 to 6 weeks of lockdown, first of all, is an indicator of high levels of poverty among Ugandans that have been bred by government, is an indicator of lack of food security in the country as people lack food stores. It's an indicator of poor farming methods that cannot produce disaster-resistant crops, or even failure or prioritization of agriculture in the national budget to have value addition and sustainable agricultural production for both subsistence and commercial farming. It's also an indicator of lack of clear mechanisms to ensure that Ugandans have sustainable sources of income for their livelihood and development, some of which are effects that are actually coming due to continuous land grabbing by the few people in power, a challenge of the land question that the government of Uganda has for the last 35 years failed to solve, or even those that voluntarily sold their land to educate their children in an education system that does not match the job market. Therefore, this implies that poor leadership and bad governance in Uganda that is being led by the NRM government is one of the things why Uganda are still suffering and running out to have food distribution. Secondly, distribution of food to Ugandans is not a plus to the NRM government in power, but rather an indicator of its failure to have an established, food-secure, economically stable state. Therefore, government should not actually have a false hope or lie that people are receiving this food in appreciation, but they are rather receiving it out of disguise, no, not to die of hunger due to the poverty that you have kept them in for the last 35 years in power. Another key issue about food distribution is there has been selective distribution of food to not only a few people of Kampala as a fulfillment of the presidential directive for it to be given to the hand-to-mouth people, but it has also left so many questions in the minds of Ugandans, especially the whole population that is affected by COVID-19. We believe that the president said we should not politicize COVID-19, but he has instead continuously politicized the COVID-19. Ugandans must be aware the president of Uganda chose food distribution to Kampala and Wakiso, not because they are the only districts with people who depend on hand-to-mouth, but because they are the central political districts that determine national politics, since urban politics determines rural politics. In other words, the president chose Kampala, Mukono, and Wakiso because they wanted to silence the people of Kampala, not to be able to speak out very loudly to influence the people in the rural areas. We therefore call upon all political leaders and other actors or coordinators not to live in fear and panic, but to work and continue innovative mobilization of the citizens to continue demanding for change through both social and traditional media, as well as community-led activities while maintaining social distance guidelines. We strongly condemn government's adoption of utilization of ministers to distribute food in Kampala without clear engagement of the local leaders in these divisions and communities, which has also left many questions unanswered, as it's a question of interference in the powers of different organs of government, and therefore demand for effective participation of all these leaders, the local leaders, while the distribution exercise is being carried out. We therefore call upon government of Uganda to have a concurrent distribution of food to the entire country in all districts at the same time through the local government leaders like the chairperson LC5, CDO, CAO, RDC, up to the local council A1, LC1 leadership in all the villages in this country, rather than waiting for the national task force to move from one area to another, because all these people depend on hand to mouth, and the people who are coming from the towns and rural areas, urban areas, are actually already shifting to the rural areas. And yet most of them actually depend on the people who have been working in the urban areas. And then lastly, we demand that the National Task Force and the district task forces distributing food should distribute food in a fair, balanced, transparent, and equal manner to the vulnerable people without any form of discrimination based on political party affiliation, age, gender, or tribe, as already seen in some areas. We also demand that the members of the district and national task force stop recording details of the people's national ID numbers, because it's a threat to their political independence, it's unnecessary, it's uncalled for, and even makes them more vulnerable to the NRM, thereby losing their ability to make independent political choices, both in elections and governance. I thank you.